Hi, I'm Dr. Ashley Holcomb. Today we're going to talk about what a trauma trigger is, what being triggered does to your brain and body, and how to help yourself come down from being triggered. At the end of this video, I'm going to include an exercise that I like to use in session and you can use at home to help yourself come down. Now, I want to recognize that some people watching this video have probably experienced a trauma. And if that's the case, I want you to just pay attention to any signs of being uncomfortable or distress that you experience watching this video. And feel free to pause it if you need to, watch it in smaller chunks, watch it with your therapist, whatever's helpful for you. I also want you to remember that this video is not a replacement for therapy. It's here to give you ideas and it's here to motivate you to seek treatment if you haven't already. All right, so diving into today's topic, let's talk about what a trauma trigger is. When a person is triggered, something in their internal or external environment, so their thoughts, their physical sensations, or something in the world around them, is making them remember a traumatic event that they've experienced. This can be very mentally, physically, or emotionally distressing. Some people also experience flashbacks or the feeling of being right back where they were when they experienced whatever the trauma was. Some of you who are watching maybe haven't experienced a trauma yourself, but you're watching for a loved one. And I want you to imagine how distressing it would be to have to relive some of your life's worst moments over and over. It can be really, really overwhelming. And this gets even more complicated when we're talking about interpersonal types of traumas or repeated traumas. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in some future videos. Now, I want you to imagine that my hand is your brain. My fingers here are your frontal lobe. This is the part of your brain that does all of your complex thinking and organizing. And here in the middle, that's your amygdala. And your amygdala is the part of your brain that processes fear and other basic emotions. When a person is triggered, they flip their lid. This frontal lobe, the brain scans show us that it's not really turning on and that the amygdala is completely lit up. People, when they're being triggered, are basically basking in fear. Additionally, your body kicks in all these other emergency systems. It prepares to either run away, to fight, or to brace for pain. Now, this makes sense from an evolutionary perspective, right? If I'm being chased by a predator, I don't need to be able to do math. I need for my brain and my body to prepare me to run away. The problem is when people have experienced a trauma, their brain can sometimes kick into this emergency mode when there's no longer a threat. So what we want to do to help someone come down from being triggered is remind them that they are safe. I like to remind people that they're not in that same situation anymore, that they're safe here with me, and I like to draw their attention to things in the environment around them to help them remember that they are not in that threatening situation anymore. This is called grounding. There's a ton of different grounding exercises out there, and we're going to do one here in a minute. But before that, I also want to set some expectations for what it's like to come down after being triggered. Coming all the way down to baseline can take 20 to 30 minutes, and usually people feel really exhausted afterward. This makes sense, right? Your body and your brain just kicked into emergency mode. You're going to feel tired. So give yourself some grace and find a few small ways to get some comfort and some rest. Okay, let's move on to this grounding exercise. I'm going to read it as though I'm in session with you, and I want you to follow along with me. Feel free to pause it whenever you need if you need more time. First, I'd like you to name 5 things in the room that you can see. Next, name 4 things that you can hear. Tell me 3 things that you can touch And it doesn't have to be just things you touch with your hands. It can also include things like your chair. Name 2 things that you can smell. And lastly, tell me 1 thing you can taste. Remember that you are safe and that you are here. If you need some more time, feel free to pause this video and continue to engage with your 5 senses to help you remember that you are safe. Today we covered what a trigger is, what it does to your brain and body, and how to help yourself come down from being triggered. In the future, I'm going to have more videos with some of these grounding exercises, and I'm also going to have more informational videos about trauma. Check out some of my other content and don't forget to click below to subscribe so you don't miss my latest videos. Also, remember that this video is not a replacement for therapy. If you've been through trauma, you don't have to go through it alone. Check out some of the links in my profile for therapy resources in your area.